Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is Michael, and today I'm visiting a famous attraction in Shanghai. This is a must-see sightseeing place that you have to come if you visiting Shanghai. So this is the Yu Garden and the Chenghuang Temple. So let's walk around and have a look at this awesome traditional Chinese street. If you see this decorated archway behind me, which is the main entrance of the old Shanghai street. So today I'm going to pick up some other topics about why I was in Australia and when did I go there, and my experience when I stayed in Australia.
This is the old Shanghai city. The old protective moat and the majority of the city walls were dismantled in the early of 20th century. Only two sections of the old city walls were preserved today, but they are distant from this old street. Next time I will try to make a video for you guys. Now this place is full of commercialized shops and restaurants. And this place is visited by the tourists from all over the world.
Guys, this one is also locked down, and I'm not able to access this one. But as you can see, the main entrance of this one is pretty nice and awesome.
This place is called Chenghuang Temple. Chenghuang in Chinese literally means city god, so it is also known as City God Temple. As a local Shanghainese, I actually haven't been inside this temple because our locals have traditions to go Longpa Temple, which is a Buddhism temple for prayer and sending New Year wishes.
Now I'm standing in the middle of the Chenghuang Temple, and as you can see, this place isn't like usual, like overcrowded. But you still see like a few tourists around here, and I'm not suggested that you are coming here during the pandemic, because the majority of the shops are locked down. And you don't see too many shops open up. Today's topic is why I went to Australia and how was the experience over there. I went to Australia about like 10 years ago, and it was a study. So I went to Australia to do my bachelor degree. The city that I stayed for like almost 3 years, it was the city on the northern part of Sydney. It's called Newcastle, and for me that was the first time when I stepped overseas, and so that's why I say it was important period of my lifetime, because as a usual Chinese, and like you spend almost like your entire life back home, and you never like step out of the country's border. It was a big adventure for myself, and to see the difference between different countries, and especially to practice English in the lifetime, and try to learn some new skills, etc. So so now I'm here. This one is the very famous bridge inside Chenghuang Temple. It has like 9 angles. It's not like a straight bridge across the river.
My lifetime stayed in Australia was the awakening period for myself. I almost re-educated myself from history, cognitive, science, language to way of learning. I was suddenly realized that a lot of mindsets I had been programmed before was totally misinformation. It enabled me to learn more interesting things, maybe before I had thought it was boring. Actually, the dogma I had gotten along with before the awakening period was majorly aimed to dumb me down and made me had less desire to ask questions.
I was same as the other international students who went overseas from China. I was like a little bit like nationalism as well, and kept such kind of like a pride of the country that I came from, because in the lifetime you were told like how awesome your country is, and how fantastic that the party did for the country, and how to bring up a very poor country into like a superpower. During the year 2009, it wasn't like superpower at this time, so it was like just to rise up the entire country, and after the Olympic Games. So I was one of them for sure, as similar as the majority like the young nationalists that you see on the internet. We call it like little pink. It's not. Why they call it little pink? Because they are like young generation. They don't have like too much experience, and they are not that red as the Red Guard during the revolution thing, but they still like super pro their country. Is for sure they are like brainwashed new generation, and same as me. I was one of them, but there's a trigger that make me to change or shift from like not super, but a little bit nationalist to reasonable, and which is the learning of another language. You know, to have the access of the information, especially the English content, you need pretty good language skills to speak, to listen, and as well as to read the media, etc. So without the access of the social media in a different language, you are pretty difficult to step beyond those kind of brainwash and the controlling system, because all the information that you stuff into your brain is some kind of like one side voice and opinion, and it's not like rational, reasonable, and critical thinking. So that is one reason, because a lot of people like stay in laziness, and a lot of youth, they sticking with like computer video games, and don't think too much about politics. They do not think about other stuff. This is one example. Is what I want to say about the change, which is the language learning. I'm a guy like spent almost more than 12 years sticking with English studies, and listen to Western media like almost every day, more than like 6 hours a day. to practice the listening, etc. So without the language skills, it's really difficult for those guys to think in different way. I'm a little bit tired at the moment, and I just sitting on the ground. As you can see, I'm sitting on the ground because there's no seat for me. I walked almost the entire area of this Chenghuang Temple, and there's no place for me to sit down except to go to those restaurants to have a lunch or something. And yeah, but let me put on the sunglasses because it's a little bit shiny, and I will do the next talk. Well, as a international student, if you don't just go out and to make friends, like local friends, for this example, if you go to Australia and you don't make the Aussie local friends, then you probably will stick the entire Chinese community, and you cannot think in a different way because all this communist education system make the people think only in a certain pattern. Actually, I suggest every overseas students make the local friends, especially the key point is you have to use English and speak in English, and otherwise the skills will not be improved by time. And after years, even you stay overseas for almost 10 years, if you sticking in the Chinatown, then probably your language skill is not at the level for a complex debate, for deep discussion about politics and technology and all those high level talking. Maybe you are okay with daily stuffs, small things like eat all the food, but that's not enough for a experiencer to exchange the idea. But that's all up to different personalities. Some people is just lazy to learn a new language.
Okay guys, let's finish this video at here. I have a second part of this trip, which is the Yu Garden with my Australian experience chat. If you like this video, please leave your comment, put a thumb up and subscribe. You are the reason I keep uploading videos in this channel. Be smart, don't get brainwashed, and stay awakening. See you next time.